Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games has had a fairly extensive share of installments since the first one hit the Nintendo Wii back in 2007. When this crossover happened, it may not have been the way fans expected both heavy-hitting mascots to be in the same gaming universe, but the series has been pretty successful. With a new Olympic setting happening in Tokyo next year, Sega and Nintendo have joined forces again to bring us Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 for the Nintendo Switch. Does this latest installment go for the gold? Or does it not even score a medal? Let's find out!
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games!
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 covers the upcoming Summer Olympics with a ton of events to participate in, as well as a few event variations called Dream events. From the get-go, all the main events are unlocked from the beginning. Additionally, there are Tokyo 1964 events, which pit 8 characters, 4 of which from the Mario universe and 4 from the Sonic universe, in a 8 and 16-bit rendition of themselves. Before we cover the game's events, Mario and Sonic does actually have a story mode to tackle. The story consists of Mario, Sonic, Dr. Eggman, and Bowser being transported to the Tokyo 1964 Olympic Games in a portable game console. Luigi and Tails try to figure out a way to get them out of there by running into other characters in the Mario and Sonic universe throughout the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, competing in gold medals to get access to more events. Meanwhile, Mario, Sonic, Bowser, and Dr. Eggman are stuck in their 8 and 16-bit selves in the 1964 era, discovering their own means on how to get back to 2020. The concept is a bit silly, but it actually works. The 1964 era storytelling was actually more enjoyable than the 2020 era. This is also due to the minigames you partake in here being pure fan service, but more on these in a little bit. Throughout the game's story mode, which takes about 4 to 6 hours to beat, you will walk around, talk to NPCs, and partake in the game's events. There are even trivia cards to collect around both eras, which provide for a fun background on both factual Olympic events as well as Mario and Sonic history and lore. Now, the game has about 24 events to partake in the 2020 era, while there are 10 more events to do in the Tokyo 1964 era. For the Tokyo 2020 era, you'll have events to take on such as 100-meter dash, archery, football, gymnastics, sport climbing, surfing, skateboarding, and several others. For the Tokyo 1964 era, you have events such as judo, 10-meter platform diving, marathon, and a few others as well. The majority of these events on both eras are actually a lot of fun to play for the most part, with a few events being less enjoyable. I'm looking at you, Fencing. What I really enjoyed was the fact that almost every event has the option for either traditional button controls, single Joy-Con motion, or dual Joy-Con motion. So, for the fast button tapping fans of track and field, much like myself, you can easily tap away. But if you know you're not great at button tapping, there are usually motion control options as well, and they work pretty good for the most part. The game even shows you how to play the events the first time selecting it based on the control style you choose. Motion controls aren't always perfect, with some events feeling a bit off like archery, but the fact that Sega implemented the option is great. Now, playing solo is a blast, with leaderboard support for every event. However, multiplayer is naturally where it's at. I tried out 4-player local multiplayer and loved every minute of it. There is also online play for each event, but at the time of review, well, you can see I couldn't cover that since the game isn't even officially out yet. There's local wireless play if you'd like to do that as well. The odd thing was that when playing multiplayer, all players must have the same control style choice. So if you have 2 players who don't like motion controls and 2 players that prefer motion controls, you can't mix and match the control types. Everyone has to be on board with the one control type for the event at its selection. The game's story mode will allow you to unlock special guest characters for specific events, but the main hook are the game's 10 minigames. While not all amazing, the real standouts are the 1964 era minigames. These play as a pure homage to both Mario and Sonic's gaming history, whether it be a 2D shoot-'em-up with Mario flying Tails' plane while Sonic stands on it, to Mario racing a boat with Excite Bike mechanics, to even Sonic 2 special stage style gameplay while running on a highway. These minigames alone are awesome. Heck, there's even a stealth segment with Mario that would make Solid Snake proud. The minigames in the 2020 era aren't as engaging as these unfortunately, but can still be somewhat entertaining. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is an excellent looking game that is immensely colorful and vibrant. The game runs at 60 frames per second during the events in single player, while 4-player split screen will drop it to 30 frames a second. The character models are done very well and all animate smoothly. What's even more impressive is the attention to detail Sega has placed here. For example, Sonic can't swim in his games. And no, him being underwater in the 16-bit games doesn't count. He sinks. So, in swimming events, you can tell he can barely swim. Even in the 1964 dive board event, after hitting the water, he jumps right out to dry land, whereas the other characters stay in the water. If you fail that event, Sonic actually just sinks into the water and never gets out, whereas the other characters will start to surface and look bummed out. It's a neat detail that fans will catch. Another nice feature is that the 1964 era has an analog CRT TV filter to further add to the retro feel. It's just a very pleasing game to look at overall. In terms of audio, the soundtrack is outstanding, with a great theme that will stick with you well after playing the game. Every event has great music that gives it an arcade-style feel, and just further immerses you into the game. The 1964 era also has old-school retro sound effects and even has an announcer with compressed audio for further effect. However, this announcer was awful during the Volleyball 1964 event. He just would not stop talking at all.
A beautiful save, still going strong. Beautifully done. A blazing spike. Servers being... There's the serve. A beautiful shot.
Otherwise, it's a nice addition. The music during the 1964 event is also great chiptune music. Voice acting is good, but a bit minimal. All cutscenes in the story are text-based, with a few words spoken here and there. The lines they say after winning events are good though, and the voice actors do reprise their roles as these characters from over the years.
Start!
Hop.
Oh yeah.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is a great game that both fans of track and field games, as well as casual gamers, can wrap their hands around and enjoy right from the beginning. The amount of content here is impressive, and it's also a great game to release for the holiday season. The vibrant visuals, excellent audio, and addictive gameplay all blend into a package that I could not recommend enough. Sure, there are a few events that might not be as enjoyable, or some motion control options that don't work as well as you'd hope, but it's not enough to detract from the overall experience. That's why I'm giving Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah, it's a great